Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer. In this video, I'm not presenting a book review. I'm answering questions on the Booktube Newbie questionnaire. So these are questions so you'll get to know more about me, what I like to read, why I'm doing this channel, that sort of thing. Let's get started with the questions. Simple reason is I love reading, I love books, everything about them. I've loved reading since a young age, really got hooked on many genres during my teenage years as well, and then I've never stopped. I've always reading. For instance, last year I read 286 books. That's a lot of books. And I thought I would write reviews on Goodreads, sometimes just brief reviews, not very long, but why not make longer reviews and present them on YouTube? It'd be a bit of fun, something different. That's why I'm doing this channel. I just don't want to focus on new books being released. I want to go back into history, into back catalogue, and focus on authors I love, rank books, my preference, that sort of thing. Sometimes I'll even review books versus movies. I'll review author against author, who wrote that type of book better, that sort of thing. Every review I do, I'm going to be 100% honest. If it's a popular book and I don't like it, I'm going to say so. They're the things I'm going to bring to this channel. I'm just excited to share love of reading. That's what I like to do and talk about as books. And the more people I can talk about books with, the better. And what better way to do that through social media? Such a great vehicle to discuss books and to encourage people to read different authors. That's exciting about doing a channel like this. What's not to love about being able to sit anywhere in an armchair, on a train, waiting in a doctor's office, get a book and be transported somewhere else. Get involved in something tense, something in another world, some sort of gripping situation and with gripping characters. You can do that anywhere. That is what's so exciting about reading. It depends on what age you're talking about. So very early on, I got hooked on books like Enid Blyton, The Three Investigators, The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, those type of mystery books that were written for younger audience. I really like them. When I was a teenager, a librarian got me hooked onto fantasy fiction by giving me a book and saying, read this, you'll enjoy it. It was David Eddings, I think, the Belgrade series. That got me hooked on fantasy fiction. I also got hooked on Stephen King and Dean Koontz type books from a friend. And so that developed my love of those genres. And then it just developed from there. And then later on in life, in my 20s and 30s, I got hooked on other genres like crime and adventure and mystery and all those other genres that are out there for us to enjoy. And that's why I just love reading all different genres, apart from romance. I think the biggest challenge for any YouTube channel like this is trying to review books and wondering if other people out there are interested in them enough to look for book reviews on YouTube. That's challenge number one. Challenge number two is, can you get enough books to review? I think I can because I source them from different places. I buy a lot of books from book fairs where you can get them from $1, $2. I go to secondhand bookstores, libraries, all that sort of thing. When you read a lot of books can be expensive, so I don't really want to pay a fortune for books all the time. If I can get them, from libraries, from book fairs, from secondhand bookstores, that's all the better. So they're the two biggest challenges. Are people going to be interested in what you're reviewing? And also, can you get enough books to review? I've got a lot of books that I haven't read yet on my shelves, over 500 I think. I think I'll be right for a while. So from very early on, I started reading things that I just pulled off the bookshelves at home, that my parents had. And they had books there from Enid Blyton, like The Folk in the Faraway Tree, that sort of thing. Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, all those type of books, Three Investigators. They got me hooked on reading at an early age. And there were certain books I used to read all the time. I'd probably read some Enid Blyton books more than once a year, all the way through, and just go back and read them the next year. I used to love certain books of hers, so that got me hooked on reading very early on. I can read anywhere, but I mainly read at home. So that's one of my main forms of relaxation is reading. So I'll just read in the lounge room, read in bed, read anywhere at home. Really doesn't matter. But I can spend hours reading at home. Also, when I'm traveling into the office, I do work full time. So when I'm not working from home and I have to travel into the office, I'll read on the public transport, so on the train. Sometimes at lunch, I might read as well. So they're the main times I do read. Anything really. All genres apart from romance, like the Mills and Boon type books. I'll read most other genres. And I've found books in virtually every genre that I do enjoy and authors that I do enjoy. So I'm not very narrow in my reading preferences. I'm very broad. And I think that will do well in a channel like this anyway. But I think that people should read different genres anyway, because there's a lot of out there to explore in the book world. Why be so narrow? Just cast your net as wide as possible and read as many different authors as possible, as many different voices as you can. Well, my shelves are overflowing. So in some parts of the shelves, they're tidy. I've got some authors sorted out into groups. In some, it's just a mess. But luckily, I do put all my books, I've listed them all on Goodreads. So I know what I've got there that I haven't read. And that's so I don't buy books more than once, especially when you go into book fairs and that, when everyone's running around trying to get the books, you don't want to buy books more than once. There's a whole range of genres on my shelf. I've got fantasy fiction, horror, thriller, crime, mystery, adventure, action, all genres there. I do enjoy them all, and I do plan, hopefully, to get through them all. Each book I read, I will do a review on, and we'll put a video up. So there are my answers to the Booktube Newbie questionnaire. I've tried to answer as concisely as possible, so I hope it gives you a bit more understanding of why I love reading, what I like to read, and also what my channel is going to be about. My channel is going to have reviews on a wide range of genres and a wide range of authors. Of course, I'll be doing a lot of authors that I really enjoy, but I'll try to go back and do as many books as possible, and I'll be going from all different times in history as well. I'm not going to focus just on new books. There are certain times where I'll do a whole series and go back and start from book one. I'm sure you'll find something on my channel that you'll enjoy, so please subscribe so you don't miss out.